So I figured I would talk more about being a dancer, what, like, for me has helped, what hasn't helped, that sort of thing. So, for me, I had a very unlucky experience. No fear. Because of the fact that basically a few years ago, I quit dance because we had family moving in. It was a thing, we just couldn't afford it anymore. And that's fine. Like, we knew we were going to come back. 1 second. Gotta reply to a DM. There we go. Someone hearted something that I DM the thing. And it was a thing. Well, then we kind of just didn't go back for a while. And then we were planning to. We literally had like everything planned out. And we found out from actually only I was friends with with someone that's related to the dance teacher, or like really great friends with the dance teacher. I don't saying that basically she no longer worked there, which meant finding a new dance studio. Yeah. And that was kind of a thing. We found one. And then a bunch of stuff happened, and then we moved, and then like it was a thing, and like just a lot happened. And I'll explain in a minute. Sam, if you're wondering why, it is almost 11. It's like 9 minutes away from 11 in the morning. Usually I would be at like the last like 30-ish minutes of school right now on a Monday. But I'm not doing school today because holiday. It sounds like I don't do school ever, but I honestly do. I do like a lot. But I get weekends off, holidays off, and if it's like my birthday, then I usually get that off. Or if my dad is like really busy that day. But yeah, basically then like, so we finally figured out, got it all situated. Great, I was that excited, I love dance. Dance is like a big part of me, and it's something really fun and cool. That's why I make a lot of dance videos, because I really do love it. And then I was like, well, at least this time nothing can really happen to like stop that. Then, like the next day, I'm not joking, like the next day I went to my spine appointment. And I actually had recently had one before that, but that wasn't my actual spine. It was adjusting the back brace a little bit because the straps weren't long enough and they kept like popping open and like and my dog needs to be up here apparently because now he's happy. Did you want to be in the video? Say hi to say I'm Baby Sam. And then basically if the straps wouldn't stay strapped, it meant I couldn't wear the brace. So we got that. I'm regretting if I, you know what. Okay. He's in the bathroom. Because if I give him the toy out, he's really annoying. At least in there, he's less annoying. So yeah. Then we found out Sam. Then we found out spine surgery. I will let you out, but you will be quiet, okay? So we waited a few months, then it happened, and I couldn't dance for like a while. And like it was a lot. And then finally we were at the where we were getting somewhat closer to when I could like actually start dancing again, and or just even working on it at home, because I wasn't even supposed to do that. Sam. We might take this in the kitchen. I don't know yet. Then like, it was just a lot, and I was getting excited and like, Sam. And then COVID hit. The big COVID thing, and that really messed me up because I basically, Sam. No. Okay. So, yeah, like, COVID became a thing. And I couldn't dance. So finally, I'm able to actually dance. No, be quiet. So, some tips I would recommend if you are trying to become a dancer. Wait. And now, like a big tip would definitely be work, work, work. If you don't work on it, you're not going to get much better. I kind of constantly am wearing a leotard right now. Because you really got to push it. It's okay, Sam. Here, do you want me to take your picture? got a nice photo of my dog Sam for Instagram. Basically, I push it all the time, and literally one day I kept having I just was out of it. I wasn't on my best skill of leaps, and I literally went you know what, today's an off day, and that's fine, off days happen, but I can't let this stop me. Guess what I did that day? I leaped for an hour straight. An hour and a half straight, if I mean. Yeah. My feet were so sore afterward, but trust me, by the end of it, all that time that was going into was really paying off. And I haven't had an off day with leaps since. And that was a couple months ago. Well, no, not a couple months ago. I want to say more like a month. Maybe a month and a half. Possibly 2 months ago. It wasn't too long. And we had family over that day. My sister was over, and my niece, and then Bella's sister. And my dad came home later on that day because he was off. That's also around the timing when I got my Alexa. Yeah, and so it was a hot mess. And for me, I really push it because for me, I look at it as I don't care my feet are sore. I'm gonna keep pushing it because I like to nonstop work on it. Now, obviously, if you can't push it anymore, stop, okay? Health is very important. That sort of thing. So pushing it is definitely something I would recommend. Pushing it and training a lot, that's something. I'm going to be the type of person, I already know, that when I get on a competition team where I work on the routine at the studio, and I also will probably be working on it at home for another 3, 4, maybe 5 hours. Then another thing would be, don't get mad over a correction. This is something that I actually strongly agree with. Now, I got one correction when I was dancing. And that was partly because I was the only one that was there to actually learn from it and actually become a good dancer and move on to competing or something. And my correction was to point my feet when I leap. And trust me, I took that correction to heart. And I still haven't stopped working on it. Unfortunately, the sad part about that is that I never got to show it off to the dance teacher. Or my skill level after a while, because that was around the time that we actually quit. But, it was a thing. Then, yeah, so don't get mad about a correction, because usually the correction isn't there to be mean. they're telling you that so you can fix it and work on it, to make you a better dancer. Then another big tip that I would recommend is definitely love what you do and want to be the best of your ability with that. What I mean by that is you can take a dancer that's been, let's say, dancing for 10 minutes and they don't have pointed feet, they don't have the straight leg, they don't have the flexibility, they basically have nothing, but they really love what they're doing and they really want to be the best as that they can be. And you put them in a competition up again, let's say someone that's been dancing for 10 to 11 years, we'll say 12 years. But the person who's been dancing for 12 years doesn't love what they do. They're doing it for, like, we'll say their mom. It really does show when you're dancing, and that the person who's been dancing for 10 minutes is 10 times better than the person who's been dancing for 12 years because they love what they're doing. Like, if you don't love what you're doing, don't be doing it, because with dance, it really does show. Like, I have watched Aunt Bella's sister dance. I have watched a few other people dance. And out of every single time, I can literally look at a person, watch them dancing, and be like, that person doesn't love what they're doing. That person loves what they're doing. That person may have less technique. That person has more dancing skills and more technique, but that person's 10 times better because they love what they're doing. And just so you know, no one's in here, I'm just pointing for no reason. And then that person's just a hot mess because they don't love what they're doing. It's not always about, like, the gorgeous lines, the flexibility, the emotion, all of that. It's about loving what you're doing and really running with it. So yeah, another big tip that I would recommend is pointed feet. Straight legs, pointed feet, basic stuff. It will really get you far in dance. It may seem like it's the most basic stuff of all, because it is really basic stuff. But trust me, it gets you so far in dance, and that's really a good thing. And I naturally kind of had this straight leg, pointed feet. Yeah. Another big tip would be I'm trying to think, which is don't waste an opportunity. This is a big one. If you get a really great opportunity, don't waste it for nothing. Okay, like say you got invited to a really great dance school or something, and for a scholarship, we'll say Joffrey Ballet School as an example. And you're like, oh, I don't want to do that because it's all ballet. I don't want to do ballet. Don't waste it. Like, what I mean by that is if you truly don't want to do ballet, we'll say that give that opportunity up and don't say, oh, it's the Joffrey Ballet School, of course I'm going, because it's a famous ballet school. Although I don't want to dance, I don't want to do ballet, and I want nothing to do with ballet, but I'm still gonna go. Like, don't do that. Don't be a person who just takes an opportunity that they're not gonna use. Because there's always going to be someone else out there who, when you give up your opportunity, it going to someone else. And like, that other person might actually use that to their advantage. Now, if you love ballet, we'll say if you love it, it's an opportunity that you really want to do, but you're a little nervous, do it. Like, don't let the nervousness go to you. Like, just do it, because trust me, it can be worth it in the end. So what I mean by that is, if it's something you don't want to do, don't do it just because it's a good opportunity. Do it because you want to. That way someone else can have it. And don't waste it by like, I giving up on it when you really want it. Like, don't give up on it if you really want it just because you're like nervous or something. Now, in my case, I would 100% give up a scholarship to the Joffrey Ballet School. Oh, and if it meant going and never seeing my crush again, or staying and seeing my crush again, like all the time, I would 100% stay, no matter how badly I want that opportunity. I would still stay because, no. So yeah, I was very excited. Excited because like dance means a lot to me, and what I mean by that is dance has gotten me through so much. Like losing my crush, dance was something that I could rely on, that I could do, all of that. And when I was told that I couldn't dance because of my surgery, which was only gonna be for a while, for a few months. Literally, we found out at the beginning of like December, and then the surgery was at February 11th, and then there was gonna be like a few month time period where I wasn't gonna be able to dance for recovery. Now that's a long time. That really, no. The thing is that no one unless you're a dancer, you might understand this. If you're not a dancer, then you probably won't understand it to the fullest of like what I truly like understand it as. The surgery did not scare me. I was fine with the surgery. And the part that got me down was the fact that I couldn't dance. Because dance means so much to me, like so much to me. And like to hear that, oh, you can't do that for like a while. Yes, it was my decision for the surgery. For those who don't know, actually was, basically we had two options. We could either get a new back brace, which would have been another $100. Yeah, and a few weeks. It's like a few weeks before we could get it, because they have to make it. And it meant another appointment, like all of that. Or for possibly wearing it for another 2-3 years. Like, we don't know. Or the surgery would have been, like, kind of like, it was going to work out better. And I went like, you know what, just give me the surgery. At this point, like, I went like, not generally, my dad actually asked me, he went like, that's not what I would have picked, if you know that. And I'm like, I would rather go through a surgery than wear that back brace for a lot longer. And he went like, well, that makes sense. maybe this was the smart choice. And I'm like, because, it's always about, like, when you love something so much, which dance I love so much, almost as much as I love my crush. It's slightly behind there, and you're told that you can't do it. Imagine, pick your favorite thing to do, your favorite thing in the world to do. It can be like soccer, it can be some sort of sports, it could be dance, it could be gymnastics, it could be cheerleading, it could be anything that you love to do so much that you do, like, And then imagine being told, sorry, you can't do it for like a couple months. Like no more of it. You're done for a few months. And, like, if you love it enough, that's gonna hurt. That's gonna be hard to hear. And so for me, it was the thought of that was just hard to hear. So yeah, another big tip would be you don't always focus on the looks. And that makes sense. Like, don't focus on like the hair and the makeup and the costuming. Like that, yes, that is important. That is fun and stuff. Focus on just doing your best. And then I'm going to recommend a few more tips, like 2 or 3 more. Maybe 4. Which is, don't wait for an audience. Like, don't look in the audience and expect them to like clap and be all excited, don't wait for that to start performing and just doing your best. You gotta be able to do that before you step on stage or before you step out to perform, like you can't wait for like the audience to like clap and cheer, for you. You gotta be able to do that before you step out there and nail it. Because every single second of your dance is very, very important. So then another big tip would be in always find a look somewhere. What I mean by that is, if you see someone smiling, or like just find a look that inspires you. Like if you see someone sad, you see someone smiling, like whatever, and use that look to your advantage, because that will often help you, like, really show your facial and make your facial look good. Your faces look good, so like every time you like change your face, like maybe from sad to excited to like you're always gonna be using your face if you find a look. But don't focus on finding that look, because it should just come. That's more of a tip for people who don't have the best face. Like, what I mean by that, I'm not trying to offend anyone. What I mean is that people who don't use their face when it comes to dancing, that's a tip to help them. And then the final tip is going to be and people would rather see you do 3 beautiful, nice, clean turns Don't try to go extra and fail. What I mean by that, people would often rather see 3 beautiful clean turns versus see you attempt 5 turns that you've fallen out of. Maybe you flat-footed them, or like I just hot mess, because they're often looking for what's good, not the extra bit of stuff that isn't good. Peace.